Welcome. This is Barry Jones from the Angel School, and we're here for our weekly angel reading for March 8th through the 14th, 2021. So let's take a moment before we begin, and I'd just like to welcome anyone who's joining us for the very first time, and just to highlight just a few things. Right now, for the month of March, I have been offering my half-hour reading for $77 for one full hour. So if you'd like to receive an angel reading with me, you would go to my webpage, theangelschool.com, and on the services page, that link is below, and you would select the half-hour reading as is. There's no special button. And what you would do is, and once you select it in 24 hours, on the first business day, I will send you a confirmation email noting the special offer. And also it will come with the instructions for you to submit your availability so that we can set up an appointment for you. So don't worry about the scheduler on my webpage. It's not working. So, and also what you need to keep in mind that I will, in the email, ask you to submit like several weeks, whatever I say there. Please do that because I schedule everyone in the order that I receive their payments, and that way I don't have to come back to you if I have very little information. Also, if you have fewer days available in a week, then give me more weeks so that I have enough time. And usually you can get a reading now within 1 to 2 weeks, so not too long of a wait, but just be prepared for that. All right, and also the other aspects of things that are going on, just be aware that all of the monthly angel scopes for each zodiac sign has now been posted. And if you're new to the channel and you haven't checked them out for this month, you can head over to the community board here on YouTube, or you can find them through my Twitter account and my Facebook page, which is below this video. So the links. So if you haven't gone over to my Facebook page, make sure to like it in order to join. I think that's how you join those pages. And I'm sure I don't think I have it as private, so it's open. So all you have to do is like it, and I think you'll get the information as it comes out. All right, so let's take a deep breath and kind of tune in to this week, and also to tune into your heart space. And once again, Archangel Sandalphon is coming through. And what he's asking you to do is to just place your attention to your Earth Star chakra below your feet. And you might feel that sphere spinning. And the fifth dimensional chakra, Earth Star chakra, looks like silver, like hematite. So I'll just put a little piece of hematite there. And sometimes people might see it as sort of a mixture of, it depends on where your chakra is in terms of its evolution. But sometimes people see it as a little bit of mix of white and black, or silver, or gray. So silver is the highest frequency in terms of your ascension, in terms of the fifth dimensional chakra. So it usually will start off as like this black and white, and then progressive gray, and then silver. All right, so And just be aware of the energy. And Archangel Sandalphon is coming in to infuse himself with your chakra, and he's bringing an ascension flame, and he's lighting up this chakra for you. And as he does this, you'll feel this chakra begin to expand wide, and then you'll begin to notice all of this energy just comes up from the earth, from Gaia, and up through all of your chakras. And other archangels are coming in now, Archangel Raphael and Archangel Michael. And they're showing me sort of a mountain peak. So in one aspect, for me, this represents sort of the ascension as well. And also because it looks like a pyramid, is sort of giving me a sense of manifesting. You're starting to manifest, some of you, that higher frequency. Now, we're already in it, but what's happening for some of you, and he said some of you are moving faster than others in your ascension process. What's happening is that some of us are sort of shifting into that fourth dimensional concept where light bulb, where all of a sudden you have enlightenment, and it's like you just woke up, right? From a deep sleep, and you start to see things with more clarity. There's a lot of aha moments. I like to think of the fourth dimension. But with the fifth dimension, you start to really see ahead. You get a sense of where things are going. You see the purpose of the contrast, and you see the lessons. So in that way, there's less judgment, less resistance about the contrast and how it's all unfolding. You understand the divine plan more, or you have more of an awareness. Now this will vary in degrees for each of us, as we're all being given our quotient of these frequencies according to our own divine plan and where you are in your journey. And if you, let's say, are still struggling in the third dimension, moving into the fourth, this does not mean that you are behind, because nobody is ever behind. Everybody is where they need to be, because there's work that's being done on every dimension. There's work, there's enlightenment, there's growth. Remember that the universe is like, think of like the operating room where, they have the operating rooms where they have the gallery, and all the doctors are up there, watching, this skilled doctor perform a surgery that is very unique. And so this is a great opportunity for all the other doctors to be present, to witness. And that is the way that the universe is seeing you. You are a highly skilled soul. And there isn't one soul on the planet. And I know you find that hard to believe based on actions, but you've got to understand that everybody that's here is here because they were highly skilled souls. And the universe, the gallery of souls and beings in the universe, they're watching. They're watching you masterfully execute your divine blueprint, your purpose. And they're watching the gifts of your soul enhance these various schools of learning. Every event in your life and every soul is participating in a specific classroom. It's just like going to a college, and in this classroom, they're learning this, and in this classroom, they're learning that. And you have it's a true university. What is happening on the planet with each of our lives and each interaction is a true university classroom. Nobody is in elementary school here. Nobody is in a preschool here. All of the contrast, this is university level. And maybe you could think of this if you were thinking about, like, say, people who work in law enforcement, especially at the level of FBI and CIA, and like it's a training school. So when you think about some of the really difficult things you don't understand, the things that you label evil, the things that you consider bad, and if you think about those schools are like CIA, FBI, that level, Navy SEAL level, training schools, university level. What is being learned through those events is also being studied, not for what is happening, but for what comes out of it, what is learned from it. This is how the university, the Earth School works. The souls come to have these experiences because it's not about the experience. Now, from our human perspective, the experience, some of them are good and some of them are bad or evil or extraordinarily excellent. But none of that matters to the university of the universe. What matters are the lessons, the enlightenment that comes out of those events, whether they are negative or positive in your opinion. And that is to say, your human opinion. So this is really important for us because we can't judge ourselves. And I'm not trying to talk you out of your opinions, but to a certain extent, to at least give you a sense of more relief and release so that you don't get caught up in it, and to also to remind you, hope to activate a remembering of who you truly are and why you're here, so that you don't get bogged down, that you don't get, like, I don't want you to, it's almost like getting stuck in, instead of a mud or a quicksand. I don't want to use the one quicksand, but you know how like sometimes your tire gets stuck in the mud and then you can't get out, and so we don't want you to get stuck because you're forgetting the purpose. You're forgetting that this is a school, a university, and you're really taking all of what is occurring in your life and in the lives of the world. You're taking it so deeply personal that it causes you to forget how powerful you are. That is to say that you have within you the ability, the solutions to solve the problems in your life and in the world. And so don't allow your heart to become so labored that you lose hope and faith in your abilities and the potential for our world. Collectively, you are here to contribute, and every soul is performing their role, because without contrast, and this is where I'd hope you'd be able to understand why things are more about good or evil and more about the school, the experience. And every soul is truly highly skilled in divinity, in this divine blueprint. And that in this three-dimensional world, the physical world, and there's the consciousness that runs with it, there has to be contrast in order for us to be able to have a school, to have life experiences that we can grow from. Without hot, you wouldn't know what cold is. So therefore, you wouldn't even know that was hot. You would just accept it. You know, the mind wouldn't even be able to articulate anything if there was only one, measurement. Because in order for you to have a measurement, you have to have another, in order to know that that's an inch, there's got to be more than an inch, right? Or etc. So understand that the way that our lives, the contrast serves this divine plan. It serves the mission of the university, the Earth University. And so that everybody's playing their roles and they're helping you to play your role. Because if somebody didn't play their part, which is at one moment to be the contrast to your point of view or your path, then you would not then be able to have that experience. You would not be able to experience that lesson at that moment. The soul enjoys the lessons. Okay? That's the purpose of this Earth School. All right. So, just trying to reconnect with why we went there, but they always know. And so I think in this week, there are two cards that have come up already. I always do. I'm already 2 days ahead. So I've already done 2 days of daily card messages. And it really feels like there is going to be a tremendous amount of change. So one card came up twice for the first 2 days already. And it's the death card in the daily card messages. And that means a transformation, and that we're going to be really changing on these various levels. And what I'm feeling about it is that we have to be present with where we are. We have to embrace where we are. We're often fighting, and what we're doing is we're fighting ourselves. We're not fighting our way through or moving, and so don't want you to get stuck there. Now let's take a look and see which archangel we're working with this week. Okay, so we have the Archangel Raziel, and makes sense why we got so deep into this very esoteric discussion here, because Archangel Raziel's name means the secrets of God. So Archangel Raziel, if you ever want to really understand the mystical reasons and underpinnings of the universe, you would call upon Archangel Raziel for that knowledge. And Archangel Raziel has sort of a rainbow energy, okay? And you can see he's holding a scepter that has the chakras lit up there. And his card is clairvoyance, okay? And so in this week, you might experience insights. So now I would say that if, visions are one, seeing, your imagination, when you are able to see a solution or see a bigger picture. It may not be like the movie pictures run in your head, or like I get symbols that I see as my clairvoyant experience, but I also believe the ability to imagine is a part of clairvoyance. Anything that deals with vision or being able to envision is an aspect of clairvoyance. This is what's coming to me right now from the angels. And it's very important for us to embrace all the facets of our clairvoyance so that we do not dismiss certain things, because it's easy for us to dismiss our imagination or insight, right? Like hindsight, insight, these words as well, foresight. These are also aspects of clairvoyance. So be very open in this week to these facets of clairvoyance. And maybe even awareness might be a part of that as well, okay? So it says, I'm helping your spiritual sight to awaken fully so you can clearly see heavenly love. And what I'm really sensing in this week is that this is going to come in, the insight, the foresight, awareness, as well as visions and symbols and signs, all of these activities of clairvoyance, seeing a billboard sign, or seeing something, numbers on a clock or on a license plate, or all these things will somehow activate an awakening within you. Now, it might throw you off a little bit. And I don't know why they wrote the word asymmetrical, but, something might throw you off a bit because something is not perfectly symmetrical. I don't know if this is literal or just symbolic or figurative in some way, but just because something is not quite the way you expect it, or it's a little off, don't dismiss or discredit that. Don't think that, oh, you didn't get that. Even sometimes, I don't know, but this is coming to me as well. Sometimes even when I'm having a clairvoyant experience, like I see words, or I see something, and I always don't see all of it. I can see part of the word. And at first, I used to question that. Like, well, did I see that? Well, of course you saw that, because if your brain immediately, like knowing is something that happens before you get the opportunity to doubt it. So what I learned to do is that's the first thing that comes to my mind before I had a chance to even think, then that is what it is. So trust this kind of thing. If you get an insight or you imagine something and it just came to you, that is your clairvoyance. And listen to this because it's guiding you. It's guiding you. And just like in life, even let's say you go somewhere or you this opportunity fell in your lap, and you don't know all of what's going to unfold out of that. But this fell into your lap and you felt it resonated with you right away. Okay? Now, a few seconds later comes doubt. Maybe you start thinking about, as they're writing out, all the responsibilities. And then you start talking yourself down from there. Don't do that, okay? Because these things are coming to you to answer your prayers, to fulfill the needs that you have and desire. This is an opportunity now in the universe where you're going to start to experience expansion. But they're writing this word, expansion, and they're writing the word right after it, negotiate. So, it's going to be, let's see how you want to say this. I'm feeling that it's going to be negotiable, but also that it's difficult for you because sometimes you have to negotiate. That's to say, it's like within your ego, there's all this negotiating, there's all this navigating and this awkwardness because we're not immediately comfortable with expansion. We want it when it's not happening. We can sit back and go, yeah, I can't, I need this, I want this, I'm so sick and tired of this. And it's interesting because we keep saying that, like, I'm so sick and tired of where I am right now. And as soon as something comes in to shift that, we're ready to, go hide, run scared, go hide behind the bush. It's like, if God really showed up in front of us today with all of its glory and radiance, we'd probably be like, what is this? want to run. And that's just natural human response. That's a natural human response. So you got to understand in that way, there's a negotiation that happens because your mind has to think about this. Your mind has to, try to reconnect and try to decipher like all the feelings that are coming at it. You're excited and you're scared at the same time. But none of this means that what that moment is for you to disqualify the opportunity. None of that means, oh, okay, well, since I'm scared, I'm just going to disqualify this. No. It means that you're being human, and the only thing you can really do in that moment is open your arms and say yes. And then let's see what happens. Because that's how you can experience some change. Just go ahead and let's see what happens. And that's so much liberating than worrying about what I need to happen. As I say, I have these expectations. I need this. I got my list. I need this. I need this. I need this. Okay, forget the list for right now. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. This is the way to embrace change, because you're not going to know. You're not going to know everything. You're not going to know pieces of it. But that's why you have been given an intellect as well as a heart to help you negotiate, to navigate, to know what to do next when it's not known the split second before what to do next. You'll know when you know. You'll know when you're summoned. You'll know when you're in the moment of. You'll know. Okay? So this is why I think we're working a lot with this month. They said it was like a crossroads for us this month, and we need to breathe. And they've been working with our Earth Star chakra so that we could really be grounded and really connect to the earth. Really decide to be here. Because worrying and anxiety is a signal that you're not wanting to really be here. You haven't accepted that you're human, that you chose this incarnation, and that you're here to do work. You're here to go to university. You're here to learn. You're not here to know it all. You're here to learn. Because even though you're a highly skilled soul, a master, this is something that has not been mastered before. And that is the evidence is by the history of this planet. We don't have on record a level of mastery that a civilization on record, that is to say. I'm talking about Atlantis and those experiments. But we don't have on record in our known history, in our life, in the time that we know now, we don't have on record a mastery of the University of the Earth School. So you're not, even though you're masters as souls, you're students. And your gifts of your soul are coming back to you so that you can actualize. The divine plan is to have this mastery of soul be represented within the Earth School. So it would love it if all of the students graduated with a doctorate degree and exercise this soul mastery within the human experience. That's what we're here to elevate, the ascension process. All right. Enough about this. I feel like I can't stop talking about that. All right. Archangel Raziel just has a lot to say. So, the first card for the beginning of the week, we have the Six of Air, or Swords here. So this is showing, again, when I said we had the Death card for the first parts of the week, and now we have this card. Both of those cards mean transition, transformation, moving in a new direction, leaving, and in this card specifically with the 5 before, you're leaving behind drama, you know, where there's drama created by us, you know, others or you're leaving behind that drama. You're ready, you know, it's time to move on, okay? And so be aware, be looking ahead. And I think that's where this clairvoyance really comes in, because that's all, I feel like another facet of clairvoyance, and I maybe, what I'm feeling like there's this spiritual clairvoyance, and then there's our human clairvoyance. And so this looking ahead would be our human clairvoyance. And looking ahead towards new goals, there's a point when we have to realize, and this came up in one of the writings too, very important. We have to realize when the lesson has been earned and learned. And many times we don't, as humans, recognize that because our human agenda is different from our soul's agenda. And when the one way that they're telling me you can know that this is happening, that you are resisting the lesson that you learned and resisting moving on, is when you feel yourself in a rut. When you're in a rut, the soul has gotten what it needs. And what's going on, right, that spinning around and spinning around and spinning around and spinning around, like it feels like you're in a rut, is the soul is disconnecting itself from that experience so that it feels hollow, so that it feels like you're in a rut, to only indicate to you, let's go. There's nothing here. That's why it feels like nothing's there, because the soul is no longer invested. When you bring your soul, that's why the heart pushes us to invest. Right? And that expression, give your heart and soul, your passion. This is why this is so important, because this is an awareness of that the soul is in alignment with you on this. And the soul is now studying. It's studying. It's in the university. This is a classroom course that it has chosen for you. And it wants you to be present and fully there. Doesn't matter how it goes. Doesn't matter if it breaks your heart or if you feel bliss. You feel invested somehow, like your soul feels invested. But when all of a sudden it feels like you're in a rut and it's just hollow, that means your soul's saying, I got it. Let's go. Okay. And so this card, I feel like, is that time to move, travel time for us to pack up and move. Let's go. All right. Move to the next classroom. Got a new course we're starting today, kind of idea. All right, let's look at the card for, the Queen of Air. Now, she did not appear in the cards that I pulled, but she appeared because I pulled 4 cards, but I only show you the one card because that's how I read and do the writings. I pull 4 cards, 2 from the top, 2 from the bottom, but the picture would just be overwhelming and not as pretty. And the real focus is that those cards, the 3 cards, are just helping me to speak on that card, and that's the card that you should see. So, but she was there, and the Queen of Air here, swords. Now, she looks like she's got, she's drawing on, she's able to conjure this element of air in her hands. And it's like she's going to use it to clear things, to clear the air. And so this means that you might find yourself needing to clear the air. All right? That is to say, you may need to set someone straight, set the record straight, clear the air. It could mean that you might need to clear your space, but definitely to clear the air, to speak the truth. Now, the thing is that you want to be just a little aware how you do that, all right? And she really is I would think too, I think of her as like the teacher, the classroom teacher, maybe teaching math or science or something like this. But that ideal teacher, because she's always going to be fair, okay? And so think about what's fair. Fair for you, number one, and fair for others. And if something isn't fair, you need to clear the air. You need to speak up for yourself. And they're writing yes. The universe is going, yes, that's it. That's it. So, think about what's fair. You're going to need to be aware, because there is a lesson here in this, that you need to learn to speak up for yourself, whether it's for yourself or on behalf of others. But it's going to be profoundly healing, as I'm seeing Archangel Raziel coming through. And it also tells me that it's going to be some kind of relationship dynamic. It may be love, or just may be professional or platonic in some way. But you need to clear the air, okay? And so that you can move on. And especially, since she's looking at this card, it's something that you're in a rut about. Your soul is no longer invested in it, and you know it. And if you know this, why are you hanging around? Why are you still there? If it's a relationship, why are you still in that relationship? If it's a friendship, why are you still in that friendship? If you are not speaking your truth, if you don't have a voice, why are you there? Speak up and get, I hate to say it, but get the hell out of there, okay? All right, let's take a look at the card for the end of the week. Now we have the Seven of Air. So, this is the Seven of Swords, the Seven of Air. So now there's two ways I see this card. The higher vibe for me is someone who has the advantage, someone who's very clever, someone who, and in some ways we have to be careful with this kind of power, because it can be manipulative, which is why on the flip side, the lower vibe of this card is that somebody sees like you're sucking away, or taking from them, when they're around you, or this person's around you, they just suck up all of your energy, right? That's that theft component. And this scene here just looks so, it's so winter. It's just barren. It's cold, right? And the Queen of Air can kind of come across as being cold, emotionless, but she's not. She's full of emotion, because all the queens are connected with water. She's full of emotion, and that's what's driving her to clear the air, because she's using her emotion. She's detecting the lies and the manipulations and the schemes, and she's coming in and said, bam, not on my watch. Okay? So if you feel that somebody is, manipulating you, that they are, putting, that they try to make it seem like you're the one, when that's not what's going on, you need to speak up. Or if you see this happening to somebody else, you need to speak up. Now, it may be that you may need to tell that person so that they can do that, right? But there's something here that is, you're in a rut about something. And maybe in another sense, maybe it's a little lighter where, you guys are, you're maybe playing games. It could be where, you're trying to pretend like things don't bother you, because you don't want to let this other person, you don't want them to see that you're sweating, right? And it left me, the other one, but maybe it'll come back to me. But the idea here is, because I feel like there's a little one that's a little more innocent, where you're playing the games, like let's say if it's dating, you're following all those little rules, your little thing, get rid of that stuff, especially if you see that it's causing you to be in this rut. And maybe your soul is in it. You can feel in your soul, we need to take this to the next level, meaning if I need to find out what's going on here, let's find out what's going on here between us, that kind of thing. But there's a whole bunch of different scenarios here, whether this could be professionally, romantic, whatever. The point is that even in the most general sense, you are playing games with yourself if you notice that you're in this rut, this cycle, and you know, whether it's financially or whatever, it's time for you to do something else. It's time to move on. It's time to, live your truth. Then get with it. Get out of this situation. There's nothing else. Let me put it to you this way. Whatever this is for you, and whatever stage you're at, there's nothing else left here at this level. It's time to move to the next one, or it's time to move to something else. And that's the point. Now, this card was weird. I had it turned standing up, and it fell back slightly. So it was like this, and it fell back like this so I could see it. So I did remember it was going to be this card. And so it is interesting. I just thought of it, though. The Two of Cups. So this definitely confirms, this is from the bottom of the deck, that it is about a relation dynamic of some sort. And this card says, in another way too, this is a card of healing, meaning, a relationship healing or reunite or reunion. If we've had a reading like this, it could be that, and it doesn't mean that, it could mean that somebody, somebody comes back to you, or somebody, or that you settle it. Something is settled in a professional, like if there was a problem, okay, it gets settled. If let's say if it's financially, something works out. Maybe somebody comes in to help you, or somebody, or that you find the right connections you need to get you what you want. That kind of thing. Okay? But this can only happen if you stop that whole cycle. If you stop investing yourself into something that your heart's not in anymore. Meaning that your soul is withdrawn from the lesson. It's time for you to move to the next school, the next classroom. And that classroom could be, 101, it could be 102. Or it's a completely different classroom where you're starting 101 or something like this. But just be aware of this. The important thing is that those first two, the death card repeated twice, Monday and Tuesday in the daily card message. Just me, this week is pushing about change. It's time to make a change. And this month, they've said, is about, we're at a crossroads. That's what's going on in this month. And we have to breathe. Don't let things, don't let our anxieties get the best of us, okay? It's going to be something profoundly healing. It's going to, as Archangel Raziel is coming through, and Archangel Raziel is associated with the planet Jupiter, and which is about abundance. So love, abundance, and traveling. So this is going to open up doors for you. And I just remembering now, before, when I was meditating, before I began the video, they wrote the word portal. So a portal is opening up for you. And this is a very important opportunity. And for me, the portals are like, allows you to step out of that cycle. It's like a gateway that just opens up, and it takes you into a higher dimension of consciousness. It takes you into a new reality or experience. And it's like the way out. Instead of, walking through the university hallways, it just takes you right. It's like a door that opens to another classroom, so sort of a magical school, right? And whatever classroom that you needed to be going to right away, the portal just opens up, and it'll be that classroom, instead of you having to walk through the halls and figure it out and stumble upon whatever. Okay? So be open to the opportunities when they come, and because I feel like you want to hang. It's like that because it's familiar. You want to stay where you are. But when they open that door for you to walk through, hello, do it. And none of this hanging on to these cycles. It's really important for you, the cycles. Like, enough with the cycles. Enough with the repeats. I got one of my own. Boy, did I learn the hard way last week. And yeah, I'm just going to say that. And I'm realizing it right now as I'm talking to you. Enough of that one, right? Enough. You know what it is for you. And it could be an addiction or anything, but it's a cycle. And addictions, don't make them more important than something else, because that's what the ego is. Stop beating yourself up about that, because the ego is addicted. It's addicted to cycles. That's why it is so easy for us to fall into patterns that are not healthy, because the ego is there drawing us. That's how it operates. Okay? So it could be food, it could be I know some people have OCD, if I can't remember what it means, but I know what I'm saying. That's just the ego. The ego is prone to these cycles. It's that because we don't practice enough change. We don't embrace enough change. And so patterns is a part of our human experience. But the soul is not about those patterns. The soul is about change, transformation, enlightenment, evolution, ascension. That's what the soul is about. So now, if you switch paradigms, you switch dimensions. This is a tough thing. We'll have to leave this for another time if they bring it up, about these two ideas of addiction, meaning cycle, that's the ego's world, versus change, the soul's world. But right now, that's what you have to do. That's really your assignment, is to change the things that are no longer serving you, to change, get out of the rut. And when those opportunities come, which means you have to be open. This is where the clairvoyance comes in, because you have to be open to those facets of your clairvoyance, whether it's on the spiritual or the human level. If it's imagination, awareness, that kind of thing, be open. Go back and listen to the video, and because it's the first time I've ever said those things, because that's how we do here, because your higher selves are pouring in, and I don't know what I just said because you all are sharing it with me in this moment. I'm going to have to go back and listen and write some of those things down. So do the same. Do the same about the clairvoyance, so you can identify this and keep this list beside you, so that as these different forms of clairvoyance happen, you will not take them for granted. Have a beautiful week, and God bless you.